Hello and welcome. It's the chat. I am Manny. My guest was one of the very young governors in the 1967 regime of General Gowan, and now a royalty in the sense of being the king of brass.
His Royal Majesty, King Alfred DIETE-SPIFF, is a meteorologist, a seaman, the first military governor of Rivers State, a first-class traditional ruler in Bayelsa State, a businessman and administrator, an auctioneer, an agronomist, and the King of Tuan Brass. Born in the 1940s, King Alfred attended St. Joseph's College in Western Cameroon. He graduated from the Britannia Royal Navy College, Dartmouth, and served with the Royal Navy. He had a brief stint as a meteorological officer at the Ikeja Airport in Lagos. This period prepared him for the career path he eventually toed. He joined the Nigerian Defense Academy as a cadet and during training was captain of his ship, leading a squadron. At the age of 25, following the creation of states in 1967 from part of the old Eastern region, he was appointed the first military governor of Rivers State in Nigeria under the military leadership administration of General Yakubu Gowon. His time as the military administrator of Rivers State laid the foundation for the development of the state. His leadership focused on building the commercial, trade, and industrial life of the state. He also invested in human capital development, housing, transport, and tourism. During this time, he was a member of the Supreme Military Council and held office from May 1967 to 1975. After retirement from office, he returned to private practice, but barely 3 years after leaving office. He was crowned by his people in 1978 as the Amanayabo King of Tuan Brass, succeeding the late King Arisoma Sambo. A visionary community engagement officer, he keeps serving as a bridge builder between his community and multinational corporation in Tuan Brass. More recently, at the national level, he served in the Committee on Models and Structure of Government during the 2014 confab. While he remains the King of Tuan Brass, he keeps creating opportunities for his people through numerous vocational skills acquisition schemes. He spends his time playing golf in the company of friends. He is married to Her Majesty Queen Josephine DIETE-SPIFF, and their union has many children.
Hello and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's good to see you now. Most of my privilege was watching you on television, giving out instructions and all of that. How do you feel now as a retired ex-serviceman?
Well, it's a great life. I mean, the retiree, when I was retired on my birthday on the 30th of July, 1975, I got a nice a hamper, took it to my old man and said, "Daddy, another pensioner in the family."
Congratulations. I mean, you were a governor of, a country like Nigeria at the age of 24.
Yes.
I mean, what did you know at the age of 24? Well, I mean, how could you have been a governor at 24?
I was a competent, responsible naval officer. And, with the profession of navigation and flying and so on, you don't take command until you are 24. Because the command of an airline, for instance, if it makes a mistake, 100 people die. If a doctor, with all his knowledge, makes a mistake on the operating theater, one person dies. So it's a great responsibility. So by that age, I've already been in command of ships.
Well, let's even go back. That wasn't your first job as a man, was it?
No, I started off life as a meteorological officer.
Interesting.
I trained with the meteorological school Oshodi in 1961 and worked in the Ikeja airport as a weather observer, forecasted the weather for the flights coming in. And then I applied to the Navy to become one of their cadets. The Royal Navy, or Royal Nigerian Navy as it was then, could not take us or take me, but the Inland Waterways under Chief Ailero, who was the director of the Inland Waterways, selected two of us, one Johnny Pinston and myself as Marine Officer Cadets. And we handed over to the Elder Dems Alliance to train as Marine officers and to get the international training and certificates. But luckily for us, we now handed over to the Nigerian Navy for the square bashing, the initial training. And while there, you know, our performance impressed the Nigerian Navy, and Admiral Way, who was a Commodore then, said, no, this is very good material for the fighting Navy, not the major Navy. And so he now approved that I transfer my services to the Nigerian Navy. And that was in 1962. So I now became the squadron leader of the 18 cadets who had just come down from the Nigerian Military Academy, Kaduna. And now we're to be given naval training. And I virtually was like the instructor because I had been specialized in the navigation and naval maneuvers. And by August that year, we went off for training abroad with the Royal Navy at the Britannia Royal Naval College. And I was the team leader, the cadet captain. And the General Ironsi, then a brigadier, was the military advisor at Northumberland Avenue in London for the British Nigerian High Commission.
Attaché?
Yes.
Okay. As a young man, what other fond memories do you have of growing up?
I mean, we got down there, you know, the Beatles were at their best. And all the beautiful movies, you know, musicals, you know, West Side Story, you know, and things were all at the time. And, you know, Gigi, you know, My Fair Lady, and all those things, you know, so Oklahoma, and all those fine, you know, musicals, and that way we blended into the whole system. Walking through life, you have to make friends and keep making friends. And I believe that friends I've made, you know, I like to keep them.
Who was your best friend in those days, you know, growing up?
I had my countryman, his name was Peter Hemben. Peter Hemben from Boku. He was my classmate as well as my roommate when we were sharing cabins initially. And we also...
So you both worked out?
We spent most of our holidays together. Yes. When we were invited by the former officers of the Royal Navy, which included Captain Litchfield, John Litchfield of the HMS Vanguard fame. You know, Vanguard was the biggest battleship ever built in the world. She was not quite ready before the war ended.
Talking about war now, let's say you came back, or you were asked to come back in 1967 to become the governor.
No. We came back in 65.
Right.
We went there 66, 62, 3-year training. And we're now ready to come back, but we had to be delayed because Nigeria was going to buy some ships from the Royal Navy and had made the down payments. So those ships were supposed to be ferried by us. And I was appointed as one of the captains of the ship, because I haven't finished my training. As I said, I was still being regarded as the senior cadet, now the senior sub-lieutenant. So we were there, and after 6 weeks, preparing to bring back the ships, we were disappointed because the balance payment had not been made. And by that time, we had already sent back our cars and our own personal effects and so on, and we were now on borrowed time. So when the month ended and we had no pay point, I had to be the one responsible to go and arrange for money. So I haven't paid myself and my colleagues. I came back and they said I took a loan from the Royal Navy and I had to pay it, even the one I gave to my colleagues. So that was another grave responsibility. When you find that by doing it on good turn and doing your duties, you now get taxed and subjected to having to pay a loan which you did not enjoy, had to be, it was all part of our salaries. However, in the midst of all that, I was announced, well, I came back immediately and I was made the captain of a ship when I came back. And by that December 1965, I was already captain of LNS Calabar. So when the coup took place in 1966, I was already commanding officer of the ship. And so I was a member of the council, the war council.
Now, let's look at it this way.
Yes.
You became the military governor of Rivers in 1967, correct?
67 years. Remember 66, the coup took place.
Yes.
And then the Ojukwu and Ejo and Katsina were the ones who were made governors of the three regions. Then in 67, there was a coup. And Lieutenant Colonel Gowan at the time took over. And then the country was split up into 12 states, 6 to the north and 6 to the south. And it was then that we were made, May of 1967, I became the governor.
What did you find in Rivers at the time you became governor?
Well, I couldn't even move in because that territory was effectively occupied by Ojukwu and his men. And so the exercise, police action, which was started and became a civil war, lasted till 1970.
Yeah.
It ended in 1970,
1970, yes.
January. But I was able to go to Port Harcourt, to my seat of government, in 1968, around September 68. So I arrived at Port Harcourt and then started to set up government there. And the general officer commanding the 3rd Marine Commando, our own very able Colonel Benjamin Odekule, the Black Scorpion himself.
The Black Scorpion.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was the one breathing fire and brimstone at the time.
You sound very excited telling this part of your story. Why are you so excited?
Oh, yeah, the Scorpion was very efficient. Even when Harold Wilson, the Prime Minister then of Britain, came and saw how operationally competent and active he was, he came back to report back to the General Gowan that when I saw the Scorpion in action, and he was very impressed. The state
What do you remember most about the war?
The war, yes, that unfortunate war. A lot of our people died in the war. They were evacuated as soon as, just before the liberation of Port Harcourt. As soon as our troops got into Bonny, we could not proceed to Port Harcourt. So most of the elites in Port Harcourt, Rivers people, were evacuated to Umahia, to the hinterland. My family, of course, came under that indignation. And not all of them came back at the end of the war. In that January 1970, quite a number of persons had been executed by the Ojukwu and his men. And even when they came to attack my family house in Port Harcourt and burnt everything, broad daylight, the mob was not, they were not wearing masks. And you found that these were people who, your own neighbors and supposed friends and brothers who were doing this to people like my family Graham Douglas, and Tiana Bessos and all that. So you can imagine when the war ended, these people are coming back now. And when they burnt your house, they don't want to come and take back their own houses. And that also left a sour taste in the mouth.
I mean, after being an ex-service military man, you become the king of a community called Brass. How did you meet up with the transition, you know, change from a military man to being a community king?
I've always wanted to join the Navy or to be a sailor. But
who inspired
more so, my old man, my dad, you know, he was very, very articulate. He was the postmaster of the province of Cameroon, based in Buea. And his telephone number was Buea #1. And the next person to him was the provincial administrator, who was the brigadier of the British Army, Brigadier Gibbons. And they had this big castle. And I was the one who was answering most of his telephone calls when I come back from my kindergarten school. So he invited me over for tea, and gave me the key to the entire residency. So I could go there and play and hunt the butterflies and pick the roses and things.
What kind of a boy were you, you know, from age 5 and the rest? You know?
I'm quite responsible, honest.
Really?
Yes, somehow.
You were truly
I,
responsible?
Oh, yes. I was answering the brigadier, you know, for God's sake. I mean, it takes a lot of courage for a 5-year-old to say, "Good morning, sir. How can I help you?" And so the man was so impressed. He said, "There's a young man who can answer my telephone. Can you bring him down, bro? And come have tea with me?" So around at 4:30, I was in the residency having tea with the brigadier. I mean, that is courage beyond the call of duty. So from there, I mean, you know, as I said again, also, there was you might say I've been lucky. There was I dealing with Brigadier Ironse, you know, and so by the time he came to become head of state, he was calling me by first name. There was I, you know, he now left the scene, and then I'm now being made a governor.
All things apparently worked in your way.
Yeah, so there it was, and then going to a pioneer state, you now had the chance of doing all the things that need to be done the proper way.
Can I, you know, point out something to you? You may agree or disagree, but some people are of the opinion that there's not enough discipline in the Navy. The Navy become, you know, too abusive of power. It may have started with you.
No, you see, it's unfortunate that the armed forces have been reduced into what they are doing now. The British Army came into the Cameroon in 1960 to conduct the plebiscite, from which the Western Nigeria went back to join the Eastern Nigeria, Cameroon. Look, one British soldier in camouflage would take care of the whole crowd. Even in the days of Tafawa Balewa and Ahmadu Bello, one native authority policeman was dreaded. People obeyed laws as they were supposed to. But what happened with God, you know? You now have everybody in camouflage. And, you know, the whole thing is...
Okay, so you don't agree.
You know, the whole thing is...
You don't agree with that change.
Watered down, you know, seeing soldiers in camouflage on the street. This is something they use always at battlefront.
I know, I mean...
And then where would you come across a soldier?
Exactly.
You know, that's awe and respect. They say familiarity breeds contempt. So slowly things have deteriorated. And one time I was talking at a ceremony in Kano during one of the anniversaries of Ado Bayero. And I said, look, bringing back the Native Authority Police may not have the same effect it had before now. It's like modern crows are not scared of scarecrows. You know, you make a scarecrow, put it on the farm. Before now, the crow will see it and know that he's supposed to respect it and fear and leave your farm. But with a modern crow, you come and sit on it and shit on it. The military has been reduced or exposed to that level where the man said, look, I don't have 20 naira. And the soldier said, I get change. It's as serious as that. So you can imagine how painful it is to me. You got it. It's very painful when you see these sort of things happening. Why expose the military? You know, aid to civil power is the only time the military comes out to face civilians. But now, military is being used as an door openers and, you know, used in such a...
Why can't the military in Nigeria today fight and end insurgency and insecurity?
Civil wars and insurgencies and guerrilla warfare. You know the problem. Your brother is sitting here with you. You don't know that he has sympathy for the other side. It's a very uncanny feeling and uncomfortable feeling. So, you know, it's and it has got a political connotation to it. But nonetheless, people are dying. People are being abducted. People are being twisted. And we really have to look at it very carefully with a fine microscopic view and try to diagnose what the real answer is. And that's why many of us who are in civilistry now become consultants, you know, and we could come up with these answers. They were available, but we are now consultants. We cannot come and pontificate and try to teach the military their job. They have to work and fight and do what they need to do. And
what about state police? What's your opinion
of
on
course, state police is long overdue. You see, if you want to make omelets, you must break eggs. We were doing the parliamentary system, the British one. Then we decided to go the presidential system because it was very close to the military rule, you know, of command structure. Okay. By the presidential system, you must have state police. You must have county police. So we should have local government police, state police, and equip them.
Well, who's going to be funding that? I mean, there's not enough money to even
If you cannot fund it, then, you know, you don't have a right to be a state or make laws. And they funded the legislative arm of government. And those ones are pumping out laws of a specific or general nature. Who is going to implement the law? You should have the law enforcement agency.
I'm saying even the police, as it is right now, they're not well paid, you know, and that's why they collect.
They're still not well paid. The state spend a lot of money on the police, even as it is. But they have no control over the police. The police force is an unwieldy system. We should modernize it. You know, everybody is modernizing. Why not the police and the others? I've had my own simple, this thing might sound a bit almost fundamental and puerile. But, you know, you have the Nigerian army, you have the Nigerian navy. Where is the Nigerian police? We have a foreign police. They call themselves Nigeria police, the Nigeria police, the Gambia, the colony of the Gambia. That is the English meaning of those things. The Nigeria police, you're feeling happy with yourself.
You recall...
There should be Nigerian police. Then maybe they will start behaving Nigerian.
You recall that day that your job as a governor came to an end?
The night before then, my commissioner of police, Ali Dowu, requested that he would like to come and see me. I was going to play some golf, and I said, okay, come in around at 7:38, and so he did. And he came, I was looking at me, and I was looking at him. Apparently, he knew the coup was going to take place that night.
The Chat is produced by Channels Television. You can watch it again online. Just visit our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook.